Good evening. My name is Madeline Zaworski. I'm just opening up the call tonight and recording it. Mike is unable to be with us, so we need to keep Mike and his family in our prayers. Dad is unconscious at this point in time. So we have special guest Bo Tanas tonight, and he and Maggie are both to handle content, but I was chatting with Bo a little bit before beginning. He did a stellar performance, as he always does, in Orlando, and he was going to talk about money and momentum and the event. So, Bo, let's just turn it over to you. How about that?
Sure. Hi, Maggie.
Hi, Bo.
How's the weather in Vancouver?
Oh my gosh, best summer ever. A little hot though for us West Coasters, that's for sure.
Madeline and I were talking earlier, and we have such amazing products, and so many wonderful people are attracted to Nikan. All of you on the call, for example. Well, one advantage I think Michael and I had when we joined Nikan, we were affected by some very smart business people who were, because Mike and I had been in network marketing before. It's kind of like riding a bike or driving a car. If you've never driven a car and you get into your first car, you're kind of tentative about it. You're not sure what and how. But having been involved for about a year or more in another company which was having some problems, but for a while it was going well for others. Mike and I were still quite very new, but we attended every event. We read every book. We watched every video because we were very curious. Why are some of these men and women making 5, 10, 20, 50,000 or more a month? This is in 1990. So those dollars back then. And so we learned a few things and we applied them. And Mike certainly did more than I in the beginning. He realized that a whole network is really composed of key people. While you have 80 to 90% of people who use the products and may or may not follow their dreams, they may be easily discouraged, they may have other things happening in their life, a few will pursue it like a very serious activity, very committed to it. And they're not afraid of making money. And Madeline and I were talking about it. I think most people are trained sociologically, religiously, or any way, doesn't matter, that in some cases, money is not a good thing. Maybe you have to be a bad person to make, not money, we're talking serious money, six-figure income or higher, which for most people would be considered a serious income. A professional income, what a doctor, lawyer, a highly skilled carpenter, or home builder, or an investor would make. And certainly now that we're in the new millennium, the cost of living certainly requires a much better income than an average income. But most people never realize that it's possible to make that kind of income or that it's desirable. And, with Nikan is a business as well as a crusade. And I think sometimes we say we should not talk about the word business. Some people don't want to be in business. Well, let's get the ugly out of the way. This is a business. And if you want to be paid like a business person, become a student of course, the business of network marketing, in addition to the products and all the wonderful things that we're taught in humans being more, in the prospecting and communication and dreaming and setting goals. All those things are important. But if it doesn't wind up in you finding somehow or other some really great committed people who want, what's the word? Average people who want to create an average life, above average life. And the majority of people don't want to do that. So it's important to realize not everyone, while they may want to make 5,000, 10,000 a month or more, they may not actually work at it or believe that they deserve it. A little story before we talk about the wonderful event that Mike is spearheading so amazing. I'm helping a little bit, but I got to tell you guys, all the brains behind it are Mr. DiMuccio and his activity. So I'm a new silver in Nikken. Been a silver for a few months. So it's late 1992. I got into Nikken early 1992, went a trip to Japan in April of 92. Our minds were shattered and blown by the magnificence of that event. Bruce Black and his wife Edie, his late wife Edie, just passed away. Mike DiMuccio and I and another person won that trip, and we're in Japan. So we come home and we're working the business. And one of the people in my network who's active is Ihor Lenko, who had been in real estate and as a real estate broker had handled significant cash, sold properties in the millions of dollars. And I did not sponsor Ihor. I sponsored Seymour, a chiropractor who was in Nikken for a little while. And before he got defocused and went on to something else, he sponsored a gentleman named Brian, who did the same thing, got the silver. Other things were happening in his life. Before he got distracted, he sponsored Ihor Lenko. So Ihor and I are driving. We're going to a meeting to do an ABC. I'm driving the car, and he's sitting in the passenger seat, and he's saying, Bo, what do you expect to be making by the end of this year? And because the previous few years had been really rough for me financially, I had successful video stores, sold them, opened a restaurant, lost everything in the restaurant, lost more than I even had. It's called debt. Got into real estate in a very bad market. So just really struggling. 2 small children, no income, very stressful. So what do you expect to be making, Bo? I'm thinking, boy, 5,000 would be incredible, which it would be, and it was. But at that point, I was only making about 1,000 or 2,000 a month. The income in the first year or two of my Nikken business was like a toilet seat, up and down, up and down. 1,800 one month, 300 the next month, like. And some people said, Bo, maybe you should get a job. I'm lucky. I'm happy that I persisted. Anyway, so I said, what about you here? What do you expect to be making, by the end of this year? And this was like mid-year, going into the autumn. And he looked at me, 5,000 a month? I wouldn't get out of bed for 5,000 a month. And that really kind of shocked me. I was kind of ambivalent, actually. I was, number one, excited. Yes, he's in my downline. That's his vision and his expectation, because he had made income, good income. On the other hand, I'm thinking, why is he thinking like this? And I'm thinking like this. So this whole idea of humans being more, getting out of your own way, thinking larger is so important. But also attracting people into your network who have a desire and willingness to do whatever it takes that's legal and moral. Doesn't matter if you have to do a midnight ABC or you have to drive 200 miles. It's whatever it takes. So it's not a hobby. It's a serious business for those who want to earn that kind of income. And also people who earned or have earned present income, a good income in the past. I think at that point, Ihor Lenko, where he had made significant 6-figure incomes, the real estate market was really quiet. In fact, it was going through a big slump in the early 90s. And so I think he was looking for additional sources of income. He'd always remained a real estate broker, but he was impressed by the idea of leverage that network marketing can present. Long story short, that really blew my mind. That whole idea of thinking outside my box. We all live in a box, whatever your box is. Reality is this. But when you're talking to people, you must get out of your own way. For example, I once spoke to a very successful woman, Linda Proctor, Bob Proctor's wife. And I've always been a little conservative. I don't want to blow smoke at people. I was talking to her, and I did not know her well, which was my mistake. And I was talking to her, you can get into Nikken and you can help people. You can build a network and make 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 a month or more. She goes, if it's not 10,000, she had a similar thing like Ihor. It's like, why would I even look at anything where I can't make 10,000 a month? So some people are already there. They've been there. That's their way of life. That's expectation for them. Anything less is like for us or for you, for anyone, to make 1/10 of what you're making presently. You wouldn't settle for that. That's unacceptable. So how we communicate is important. And so it's good to know the people you're speaking to. If you can know somehow what they do, what they've done, so you can present Nikken as in a positive light. If you're not sure, then you can speak in generalities where you can make good income, you can help a lot of people, you can make leveraged income, residual income, ongoing income, things like that. But if you can know in advance where someone is at, that makes a big difference, because we want to attract these people who have made good income, expect good income. They live in an entirely different world. Their worldview is radically different than 90% of the population. Having those people in your downline is very, very important. And how do we do that? We talk to and share Nikken with many people, so we get many customers and many partners, and help those people to also sponsor many people. I suggest everyone to create momentum, which is where you're going faster and faster and faster, so that if you could sponsor 10 people in the month of August, that's not too much. It's okay. If you do that again in September, or between now and September and October, you sponsor 15, 20 plus people, that's a very good thing. Number one, some people think, well, how could I possibly deal with all those people? It's never a problem. Trust me. Maggie is smiling. She knows. Madeline. Not everyone is joining Nikken at the same level of commitment. Very few. We say typically a rule of thirds. Maybe if you sponsor 10, maybe 2, 3, maybe 4, approximately 3, are serious about the business. And so you need to find those quickly, not in a year, in a month, so that you can help them go silver and gold and beyond quickly. So how do we do that? We talk to 1 or 2 or 3 people a day, follow up with the people from the day before, make contact, and we ask questions to find out where they're at and what they might be interested in. Maggie, I see you right there. I'm a wellness consultant. What interests you, financial wellness or physical wellness?
Well, when I started with Nikken, I'll go there both, because for me it was physical. I'd had 30 years of chronic pain and I was looking for relief. But I also wanted tax relief, because I was a professor paying way too much income tax. So those were 2 interests, but the physical was higher.
And so I would follow with the amazing products as a priority focus with Maggie. So know who you're talking to and know what interests them. I sponsored someone who liked the products. They were great, but they were interested in leveraged multiple sources of income that can expand on its own while they're on vacation. That is what network marketing is. So people are in very different places, and it's okay. That person got thousands of people in their network. So however they get into Nikken, whatever motivates them, it's all good, because if they get a lot of people into Nikken, a lot of people are doing humans being more, they're growing as human beings, they're getting healthier, and they're sharing Nikken with others. So sometimes I found people who say, you got to love the products. Well, yeah, you do. But I don't care. If you like the products and you're doing Nikken and you're sponsoring a lot of people, that's all that matters to me. And you're doing it week after month after year. Some people who love the products never do anything. So let's open up and relax. And the whole idea is we're like putting together a sports team. We want to get 10 really good people on our team quickly. Well, in any sports team, you wouldn't take the first 10 people. You would open up tryouts for 100 people. And in a year or 2, you could easily contact 100 people or 200 people. One a day would be approximately 300 people in the course of a year. But out of that sports team of 100 people, get it down to 50, get it down to 20, and you have chosen the best players. Now, in our business, in network marketing, it's just the opposite, because we contact many people and we get customers, but we also get willing participants. It's a voluntary army. So they choose to, number one, do it, and number two, to do it seriously. But we have to get through people and to find those who are interested. Yes.
Bo, I see that Dr. Melanie Caldwell is on, and she is going to be the keynote pediatrician in Toronto with the statistics about children. She's pretty fascinated with NECAN and would like to replace that physician income to be able to do NECAN and have a broader global impact. Now, you were around and she wasn't when there were lots of doctors actually in Stan Bogus's group. So can you speak to that, giving her some advice? Because she and Barb, they've been every month and weekly in her office, a lot with patients. But again, going to those bigger dollar income people, looking for those kind of business partners, and the rest of us to be able to seek physicians. We have Dr. Stan on this evening as well.
That's a very good point. And number one, welcome to the call, doctor. But also the fact that some of the health professionals, doctors, nurses, surgeons, cardiologists who are or have been in NECAN, there's two ways to do a NECAN. Many people try to integrate it as an additional therapy into their practice. But the other thing is to be a professional network marketer. And that's what I recommend. For example, a doctor will want to, of course, share this with their patients. However, you want to expand beyond that. Who are the people that the doctor knows? Other doctors, lawyers, drug salespeople. Everyone who's not their patients is a much larger market than the people who are their patients. And so I would not limit it to just patients and being a therapeutic, but also once they recognize that network marketing is a very good and viable business, to approach it as a plan B. Almost every professional and every individual needs a plan B. And network marketing is a great place to start, where you can start for very little money, start very part-time, and in a year or two or three, it can match or exceed one's present income. So that would be one recommendation. And that requires some education. So reading a few good books and absorbing all you can online and YouTube videos about network marketing, recognizing the cash flow quadrant, which you probably have discussed at times. But, number one, we start as an employee, we're trading time for income. We may realize, hey, I can make more money by going in into my own business. And now you're doing everything. If you're a landscaper, you're also your own bookkeeper, you're doing everything. You might be making more money, but you're also working huge hours. Eventually, you realize the value of creating a business and leveraging yourself through the efforts of others. In that landscape business, perhaps you could hire 10, 20 people, train them, and you can be on holidays while landscaping is being done and you're earning income. And ultimately, your cash flow has exceeded your own personal needs to the point where you can become an investor in the final quadrant where money is working for you. And so understanding that network marketing is in that B quadrant, very, very important realization of how money is earned in this world. And so those are all things that Mike and I and others really grasped on really quickly within the first few weeks of our network marketing experience with NECAN. And we put everything into that focus, into that lens of presenting NECAN in an attractive and exciting way, in addition to the products. And I guess my view was that these are amazing products, but there's all kinds of products in the world that are positive. But because of their uniqueness and effectiveness, and you combine the products with the ability to share them with many people, not dozens, but hundreds and thousands over the years, that made for an incredible business opportunity. So do be a student of network marketing. Come to this event in Toronto. For me, going to the major events where top people are speaking was very, very important. I heard a saying when I first joined NECAN from someone from down in Atlanta. He said, Bo, if you want to run with the big dogs, you got to get off the porch. I thought that was fantastic. So even when that same first year when I was talking to you about Ihor, I went to a DCAN convention in Las Vegas, autumn of '92. I had no money. I had no credit card. Somehow I found a way, and there were a bunch of us sharing 3 hotel rooms, about 20 of us from Toronto. We were sleeping on the floors. We were doing whatever it took to be there. And it really paid off because I remember meeting Dennis Williams. He and his wife were silvers, but they were mega silvers. They had huge organizations. And I remember when he came off the stage from receiving all kinds of awards, I said, hi, you don't know me. I'm from Toronto. I'm a silver too, but my business is not like yours. What the heck are you doing? And I pulled him aside. I asked him questions. What tools are you using? How you prospect? So those kind of interactions are really worthwhile. So when you come to an event, don't just be a wallflower. You want to meet and mingle and ask questions, certainly of people who are making money, because that makes it more real to you. And meeting him and others like that, for me, formulated a very important idea, which was if he can do it, or if she can do it, I think I can do it. Because when you meet them, you realize they're not supermen or women. They're just doing something differently, thinking a little differently, presenting perhaps a little bit differently, but also creating momentum. Many, many people. Dennis and Ruth in their first, I think, 90 days sponsored 20, 30 people. That's more than most people sponsor in a year. Out of those, they found a few who are serious about that. So definitely come to the event. I would suggest bring a guest with you, because nothing speaks to anybody, yourself or a guest, like a major event where real people who are making real money are speaking. They're not speaking from theory. They're doing it. They've been doing it for a few years or many years. Very, very important.
Could you speak to, you mentioned that Ihor was 2 levels or the 3rd level below you, of then working underneath and the taprooting concept?
Very, very important. The first person I sponsored, Seymour, worked with him, a lot of ABCs, but I could not control his life. Worked with the person he sponsored, Brian. We did some ABCs. Nobody can control anybody else's life. Ihor was coming to every event. So there's Bo, Seymour, Brian, and Ihor, 3rd level, beneath me. He was coming to every event, and he had 3, 4 checks in his pocket. He loved selling products and collecting checks. I don't know why, but he'd say, hey, look at this, boom, boom, boom. It's like, oh my God, who is this guy? And he always had 2, 3, 4 prospects with him week after week after week after week. Now, was he normal? No. A Royal Diamonds, normal? No. But average people can get to that level. But you want to find those people. And nothing does it better than like that sports analogy of building a team, getting a lot of people to try out. And that's called sponsoring at least 10 people over the next month or so. Out of those, 2, 3, or 4 will be active. So that's called going wide, if you've heard that term. You're here and you sponsor 10 people, you're 10 wide. If you sponsor 5, you've only sponsored 5 people. 5 wide. 10, 20, 30. Over the course of my career, I was over 100 wide. But what really was important was in my first 90 days, 20 people. Only 5 of them were excited and active and coming to meetings and sponsoring and doing, Bo, will you come do an ABC with me? Well, I can't. I'm doing one with Ihor, but I can do one with you tomorrow. So when you have enough people who you've introduced to NECAN to, the beautiful thing of people is people power. Some people are just full of vim and vinegar and excitement, and others less so. You want to find those who are. I learned a lot from Royal Ambassador Dave Johnson. Listen to a lot of his audios, and anytime you can, I suggest it. And he once said that he saw a sign on a bus in his hometown from a bank. And the sign said, "We do not train our people to be nice. We hire nice people." Right? So don't try to inspire or motivate people to be motivated, excited, if you sponsor enough people, nice people just show up. So once again, the business is really two things in my mind. Go wide to find people who want to play the game. You sponsor 10, 2, 3, 4 will be, yeah, I want to go silver. Show me how. I'd like to make some money. I want to create a more balanced life. I like what network marketing promises. Show me how. I got 5 people we can talk to this week. Let's go. And when someone like that approaches you, no matter if you sponsor them or they're in your downline, you're going with them ASAP as much as possible.
I have a quick question.
Go wide to find people who want to play. Then you dig for diamonds. None of my top leaders that I personally sponsor. Almost every diamond, a royal diamond, will tell you that the person that's really more active is in their 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 7th level. And so you don't just sponsor people, let them go and make you rich. You work with them, do ABCs, do 5 or 10 ABCs with them. Help. If I sponsor Maggie, I see Melanie Caldwell there. I'm going to say, who would you love to have in your business? She goes, Melanie, great. Let you and I go see Melanie. And Melanie joins the team, not just a customer, but let's say she also joins the team as a partner. And even if Maggie is too busy with other things, Melanie, you and I are going to go see some people. So now I'm working with Melanie as if I had sponsored her, but yet she's in my 2nd level. If she sponsors Michelle Kowalczyk, and I say, who would you love to be in business with? Who is someone who's exciting, has contacts, people respect them, someone you respect, and if you call them, they won't hang up. A friend or an associate. And she says, Michelle Kowalczyk, so we go see, and we get Michelle involved in the business. So even if Maggie is not available, even if Melanie's not available, I'm working with Michelle. Go where the excitement is. So this only happens, once again, if you're sponsoring a number of people quickly and helping them to do the same. Extremely important. When Mike DiMuccio got going, he had a very big vision. And he put in the volume of time and effort 24/7, 7 days a week almost. And he sponsored 35 people in 90 days. And that kind of put a bee in my bonnet because he knew a lot of the same people I knew. And if I didn't get to them, Mike's going to sponsor them. Even though he's my upline, doesn't help me if he sponsors Joe or Susan or whoever. So having a sense of urgency. And no matter what motivation you need, create a sense of urgency for you and your team now. Because if you're moving with a sense of urgency and momentum, you will attract others in your network who also are of that same energy. We all know everything's energy and vibration, right? And so if you're moving and walking and talking like it really matters, and this is something really important, and there's money to be made, don't be afraid to talk about that. If you ask, I think the majority of the population, hey, well, let me give you an example. Actually, I was doing a training with with Dave Johnson once, and he said, what if I was speaking to a group of 10,000 people who knew nothing about Nikken? And I had some great Nikken products, the Mag Duo here, or the insoles, or the water system. And I had a check for $10,000 and asked them, who wants the water system and who wants great income? Can you roughly guess the percentages of people, what they would go?
100% money.
Because think of how hard people work and how for many people it is a struggle, how stressful it is. And I can relate because I went through that. 2 young kids 26 years ago, not enough income, butterflies in your stomach 24/7. It's not a pretty picture. So people work really hard at jobs they don't like. And here we have a solution that can help them, not necessarily overnight, but if they really create the momentum, they can get moving pretty quickly. So number 1, come to the event, bring guests. The vision and knowledge and human contact you'll make with people is irreplaceable. And we're having some of the most highest income earners in the world of Nikken there, including several diamonds and royal diamonds from Latin America. They are juiced and they are moving, and some of them are very young and very, very active in the business. So come create momentum so that you can go wide. Sponsor 10 or 15 people quickly. You want to find those people, the 3, 4, 5, who you can be working with. If you only have one person who's excited, that could really be a disadvantage. Why? What if they lose the excitement next week? What if something happens in their life? A death, any number of things, a million things can happen, and they get distracted. Who are you working with? If you have 5 people on the go, 2 or 3 or 4 of them will be active day in, day out, and you're doing ABCs with people 1, 2, 3, or 4 ABCs a day. So that kind of activity is vastly different than the majority of people. You put yourself in that position, I would suggest, very much so.
Well, Dr. Melanie had a question.
Yes.
Yeah. So my question is, I've done exactly what you said. For a long time, I was prospecting mainly patients, or just sharing products with patients. But as of last month, I, after talking with Mike, actually started a new strategy. And I did start talking with professionals, other doctors, alternative practitioners. And I did actually have a pretty successful meeting. I invited probably 8 or 10, and I think 4 came. So I was
that good percentage.
Successful, yeah. However, now I decided to start with alternative practitioners because they already, understand, something other than traditional medicine. But I was looking to prospect, some of my colleagues, and I did actually talk to several of them, and it's a little bit more difficult to convince them of the viability of multi-level marketing, as a viable stream of income. Do you have any suggestions?
Yes. Number one, make sure the person in the mirror is really sold on it. That's you.
Okay.
Because some people do have a negative opinion in network marketing. There have been bad companies. There have been unprofessional people. Probably safe to say 90% of people in network marketing are unprofessional. They really treat it as a lottery. Oh, I sponsor 3 or 4 people that make me rich, and that's all I got to do. No, that's not true. This is a real business, and we want to work with our people and empower them. Most people don't do that. And so that can create a negative opinion of network marketing. So very important. Do you spend any time driving on a daily basis?
Do I?
Do you?
Yes. Yes.
I think the average person spends an hour or 2 or 3 in traffic. So make sure you're attending the University on Wheels. You're listening to audios in the car, or even on my phone. I drive to Pennsylvania a lot because my mom's in a nursing home, 8-9 hour drive. I've got YouTube going on my iPhone, and I'm listening to all kinds of audios about personal development, about Nikken, testimonials, about network marketing. A lot of network marketing professionals from different companies have valuable information. So I'm also working on a screenplay, so I'm listening to stuff about how to write a screenplay. But the point is, attend the University on Wheels so that you become ironclad and bulletproof. Key phrase, ironclad and bulletproof.
Okay.
So that a good place to start, if you haven't already, is Go Pro by Eric Worre.
Okay.
Go Pro. And the good thing about that book, it's short and sweet. The entire sphere of network marketing is broken down into 7 key principles and skills. 7 keys. I guess I'm sorry, that's 7. If you didn't know. 7 key skills. And there's also an audio. The book is like $10 or something. The audio is like $10. 3 CDs. So the entire content of the book is on 3 CDs, and you can listen to them like I did. That book wasn't out when I started, but I listened to other things 50 times. I didn't sort of want to know it. I wanted to know every comma and every breath and every letter because people were making huge income and I wasn't. I wanted to learn how. And so that'll be my recommendation. Go pro, listen to the audios multiple times, which you can do while you're driving. So that, because what happened with me when people would say, is this network marketing? I go, absolutely it is. And here's why it's of great benefit. And some people would be open and some people wouldn't. And I realized we're sorting through people who are open. We're looking for people who are looking for something, better health, better finances, one or both. And not everybody is. And some people are closed no matter what you offer them. If you were giving away diamonds on the street corner, some people would turn you down, believe me. And so as you learn more about network marketing and how it has such tremendous benefits, how it's such an ethical business and it has such a sweeping effect on society. Here's just one little example, going too long. But someone once told me, Bo, you know, when you sponsor someone and you help them become silver, gold, platinum, and they're making good income to extraordinary income, you're not just helping them buy an extra big screen TV. You're changing where they're living, where their kids are growing up. Their kids will go to better schools and be associated with a different community. The kids' view of the world, their children, is greatly expanded because that person's now more profitable, more successful, and their self-esteem is higher, which will affect their children and their children. So when you help someone do well, it has a profound effect on multiple levels on many, many people. So this is not just about making money and driving a nice car. It's about the service that's rendered to a lot of people. So the more you realize what a noble profession network marketing is, you will withstand the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, which will come your way. It definitely will come your way. If you're talking to enough people, you'll get some people who are negative. And you go, thanks for looking. Next. I might say, Madeline, maybe this is not for you. Thanks for looking. But who do you know that would like to make more income or have better health? Always get a referral from every negative. Madeline, I see it might not be for you. Thanks for looking. I really appreciate you taking the time. Who do you know? And if you don't ask, the answer is always no. They may say, well, I'm not into this stuff, but my sister's always doing this kind of stuff. That's a true story. I know someone who, the cab driver they were talking about, not interested. Call my sister. Here's her number. That person went royal down. That sister. So anyway.
Just wondering if anyone else has a question.
Yes.
We're a few minutes over, but I don't think they'd mind asking a question. Anyone?
Madeline, if there's time, I'd just like to share a personal story about why big events are so important, if I could.
Please.
When I first started, we didn't have the internet, and I lived 500 miles north of Vancouver in a smaller community. And I was passionate about the products. I was passionate about building a business, but I didn't really get it until I went to a big event in Tacoma. And so when I went there, I realized, oh my gosh, I wouldn't have had this bigger vision without that. So this event in Toronto, for instance, I have a lot of my top leaders going, and I have a gal who just signed up. She's coming, and another consultant of mine is bringing a guest. I think that's really key because we know that even with that number of people coming, we're always sitting there going, oh, I wish I'd brought more people, because it is so powerful and you can't explain it by talking about it. You have to be there. So if anybody's thinking about it, and the really cool thing about this gal that's already signed up for Toronto is she's going to order 3 of the packs, all 3 packs. So she'll probably get her ticket comped. So when I showed her that today, she went, oh my gosh, that's, you know, that's money in my pocket, plus free shipping because she had 500 points last month. So there are all kinds of ways to help people get to that event as a business benefit rather than as you know, a cost. Okay.
It's an investment, absolutely. And if all of us were in any other business, real estate, insurance, dental hygienist, we would be doing this every quarter, every 6 months, upgrading our skills, flying to a city, getting a hotel, attending an event. This is required just to maintain your status in most professions. Just with what Maggie was saying, I had someone who was not active, barely hanging on for months and months and months. They came to an event, their eyes popped out of their head, and they came to me and said, I'm going platinum this month. I could never have done that at home with that person. That event and the power of the stories and the other people. So right on, Maggie. Plus, this is not your normal NECAN event. This is the first.
No.
This is going to be something, the vision that Mike has had for this and that we're working on. This is going to be the Academy Awards, folks. I know we're running over. This is the Academy Awards. It's going to be very beautiful and a lovely, lovely event and a partay.
And tell a little bit about the awards, Bo.
Well, it's the humans being more awarded. A survey will be going out soon for the public to vote for who they believe is I guess we'll call this the Academy, to vote for who they think is the most deserving of leaders in NECANdom. And there'll be several awards given. And this will become, this will be the inaugural event. And this will be a new way of doing NECAN. And because it is akin to best actor, best actress, best screenplay of the highest level. And the idea is to make it very beautiful and very elegant. So come bring your nice sparkly clothes.
You know, Bo, I just want to say one thing about recognition. I think we sometimes underestimate how important it is. I know when I was, in education for over 25 years, and Madeline, you might be able to relate to this too in the health field. Doing a great job, which I always like to do, was wonderful. But it was kind of like, I always use the analogy like wetting yourself in a dark suit. It might feel good for a moment, but nobody notices, right? So the recognition that NECAN gives us, well, we in the field in this case, is so important. It grows people. It really does grow people.
Really does.
Madeline.
For many people, recognition is more important than money.
That's true.
I'm a man of balance. I like recognition and I like money.
Yeah. You want to mention a little bit about Bob Proctor? Bo, you've been a protege of his for a long time as well.
Absolutely. He's a very interesting man. He's in his 80s now. He's in his 80s now, and he hasn't changed since I met him 24 years ago. I met him at an event, and that's just very briefly, never prejudge anyone. I was at a hotel, and I saw him 50 feet away. I was finishing a NECAN thing, and I saw him far away. He's a famous person in Canada, a world-famous business and sales and motivational trainer, author. And I'm thinking, Bob, nah, he wouldn't be interested. But I just learned in the previous event that I was in, never prejudge. Don't be the decider, be the communicator and let them decide. Yeah. So I approached him, and I'm thinking as I'm walking across the hotel lobby, number one, he's going to tell me no, and that's okay. I made it in my mind okay for him to shoot me down. My job is just to do my job, which is to say, hey, take a look at this. Well, he was busy, and we couldn't talk, but we set an appointment for the next day. I did meet him, and I said, Bob, nice to meet you. You don't know me. I'm a real estate agent, and I've attended your events. You really helped me a lot. But I'm working with a company that has products that really affect the mind and body connection. Now, he speaks about that all the time. Luckily, I had the presence of mind to think of that idea. And he says, listen, I've got to go here. Let's meet tomorrow at the Golden Griddle at Yonge and Sheppard in Toronto. And I'll see you there at 9 in the morning. That's a whole other story. But anyway, so he showed up, and long story short, he got involved, and his wife became Royal Diamond. But never prejudge. You never know. The worst that can happen is someone can say no. So don't take it personally, just large numbers. But he will teach us the mechanism of the mind and how to really change your paradigm. Everything for us begins in our mind, our vision, our belief, and how we view the world. And if we want to change our income, if we want to change the way we're living, we have to change some things about the way we're thinking. And he is the master of doing that. He totally changed my life in many, many ways. And he's a lot of fun. He's very funny.
And then you've also added Richard Bliss-Brook on Sunday afternoon. There's an extra session.
Yes, well, first, Richard Brook is speaking Saturday. Bob Proctor speaking Friday evening. Richard Brook is speaking Saturday, and he wrote the amazing book called The 4-Year Career. So if you haven't got that book, that's a staple of Nikan and network marketing. So he will be speaking. He's one of the most successful veterans of network marketing from all sides.
Repeat that book again?
Richard Bliss-Brook, Brooke, Richard Brook.
Okay.
Check him out. Plus, just a great presenter. And he's going to talk about how to be very real, be an authentic person in network marketing, to be your best true self. So you're communicating, you're not blowing hot air, you're speaking from experience, and you're saying smart and wise things. Yes, he's also doing an all-day event on Sunday in Toronto for those who want to and can't stay the extra day. It's worth it.
And then just lastly, are there any other resources or reads you might recommend before the Toronto event? Other than, you said GoPro and the Richard Bliss-Brook? Anything else?
The 4-Year Career. I'd say between now and then, devour those books. And certainly with GoPro, listen to the audio over and over and over. If I give you 10, 20 books, they can go in.
Three's good.
One ear out the other, but you want to devour them and really get them in here. That would be my recommendation. And there are countless books on network marketing and audios on YouTube. So whenever you're driving, you'll never get bored. Just put in network marketing. You always,
what I like you say is fall in love with network marketing.
Well, that's a very good point. I know we're way over time, and I appreciate you folks staying on. But I learned very early on, not just in Nikan, but specifically in Nikan, people love the products because they're remarkable. But their appreciation for network marketing is way down here. And through education and experience, you want to get them both up to here. And luckily, because of previous network marketing experience, I was up to here pretty quickly, so I could approach everyone right out the gate with the value of network marketing combined with the products. That's why Nikan, to me, was the ideal business, is the ideal business. So,
Madeline?
Thank you.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes. I think we lost you, Carol. And maybe your connection. If you can type in the chat if you have a question. It seems like she froze. Anyone else while Carol's trying to come back on? Jay Tadlock, I don't recognize that name. Is Jay new? He wrote a little note. Or Miss Calamay? Ms. Calamay, if there's anyone else. Jay, you're muted. You have to unmute yourself.
I'm from Jerome, Idaho.
Oh, you were on our call the other night. Okay.
Yes, I was.
Okay. First time on this call, I think. I don't remember you on this one before. Any comments?
Well, I think everything that I've heard, I got on late, but I think I agree with everything that was said, especially about going to events, because it does energize people and it energizes an individual. And so I really think that's really the one thing we can all take back from that.
Jay's a school teacher, and he shared on the showcase the other evening a very profound story about his students' improvement in the classroom. So, yeah, just by bringing in an air filter, a water filter and an air filter, I think, or a few seats.
Wow.
Just a water unit.
Just a water unit. Okay. Yeah,
wow.
Actually, Dr. Melanie, this is the pediatrician here, Jay, that you want to connect to with that story. That was pretty profound. So you can connect to her in Toronto. She's going to be up there. So anyone else here this evening that would like to comment? We're 50 minutes. Mike occasionally goes over, so I think it's okay for the other big great to go over too.
Well, thank you all for being on the call. Certainly if you have a question or comment, and you can always contact me directly. I will give you my cell phone right now.
Please do that.
Which is 416-567-7217. That's 416-567-7217. My email is botanas@rogers.com, BOTANAS. at rogers.com, ROGERS. And let's create the momentum. Let's dig for diamonds and have a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thanks so
You're
much,
very welcome.
everybody, for staying on extra. And let's keep Mike and his dad and his family in our prayers. Rick
Absolutely.
Rick's dad is also in a similar situation, and
Absolutely.
mom, and we have quite a few people. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good night.
And
Thank you, Madeline. You
Thank
did a great job.
thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Good night.